which video editing software do you use?
I use a couple actually. I use CapCut. I use
Yes.
Microsoft program. I've got a couple of
Oh,
SaaS,
okay. I use CapCut. I use but
yeah,
I find CapCut on my mobile a little bit easier to use than the CapCut on the laptop.
oh yeah,
So
yeah,
it's always, the mobile allows me to make really, really sharp cuts on the video,
yeah,
and then it doesn't freeze when I finished all the editing and put all the text and everything. It's still the mobile CapCut still allows me to download it,
mm.
but the laptop CapCut tells me I've run out of space
Oh
somehow, and
yes,
I should have more space on my laptop. So I found much more. So I love CapCut because I used to use Clipchamp before.
right.
I've used quite a range, but yes,
I
no.
use Clipchamp too, and
Okay,
I use them
okay.
both. Yeah,
Oh, bless,
yeah,
bless. No, I
yeah.
can't. I can't do Clipchamp. I stopped, and you have to subscribe to all of these things.
Right, they're all money, right?
Yes, yes.
I mean, now that you just made me realize it, I'm like, I'm paying about $40 just in software editing every month,
Yeah,
just for the software editing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not sure that's because I use other things like in video and there's a couple of them I use.
Yeah.
And
Honestly, I've found that I had to the way that I now work with abundance has really helped me because having a total conviction that whatever I need, I get,
mm,
and testing it out, not thinking about it. I mean, when I say need, whatever I need to do, I don't think, if I find myself thinking I won't have enough money, I stop myself and I do it.
mm.
And I somehow, in the next day or two, something more money comes in. It's
Oh
very
my
interesting.
gosh.
And I've learned to trust that flow. It's like a current. I've learned to trust it. I know the amount of stuff I'm paying for, StreamYard, Zoom, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I couldn't do it before. I wouldn't have signed up to. I would sell like the free version or let it go.
Right. I mean, you just
But
made me realize how much I can do to cut money right now because I've got Zoom, StreamYard. We start doing all these different things and we don't realize that these are all monthly fees. There's
yeah,
all
but StreamYard,
monthly
you can
fees.
pause. I pause StreamYard
Oh,
if
were you
I'm
able
if
to
I
pause
because
that?
yeah, you can pause it for 3 months.
Oh, I
So
didn't
I
know
can, yeah, if I'm not going to do a live, because I only use it for my lives.
that. Mhm.
Because I find it so easy compared to Zoom for lives, especially if I'm not doing it alone, if I'm going to invite
It's
somebody.
true.
So yeah, but honestly, it's yes, you've got to be mindful of how the, how you manage that money, but from a place where you're just being mindful as opposed to there's not enough.
Mm.
Uh, there's a slight difference in that sensation because one is from fair, another is from being in charge of your affairs and being responsible with it. So,
Oh my gosh,
on
Bola, this is going to be so personal, and I don't know how much of this I want to cut out, but I have been struggling with money bad for over a year. Bad. When I say bad, I mean if it wasn't for my daughter, I'd be homeless. Reality.
mm, mm,
It's a struggle for my daughter, it's a struggle for me. I cry. So it's hard for me to even look at things and feel that sense of like expectation because after so long of failure, you begin to think all there is failure.
mm.
And that is something I'm dealing with on a personal level. It's really scary to me, but I feel like, I start thinking, is it this? Is it that? You start thinking of all the reasons. And after a while, I mean, because I'm a abundance and manifestation coach too. And I know where I'm supposed to think and how I'm supposed to think. But reality is here. And reality is called, I don't get enough money every month to pay my rent. That's reality. And I don't know how. I don't even know how I'm surviving. Sometimes I look back and go, how the hell did I get to August of 2024? I haven't had a decent amount of money come in since 2022. It's reality. It's
Yes,
scary.
I totally get what you're saying because I remember when I left my 9 to 5 and I started with the business with my energy healing business. I also had the legal advice business, which is what I was doing as a 9 to 5. I was supporting parents of children with special needs, giving them advice about the responsibilities that the local authorities and government had. And that was really my income. But I left that position and I decided to start my own business. But I couldn't even charge. I didn't have the belief in myself to charge. So I had clients who I had worked with who had paid. No, they hadn't paid for the service because I was being paid to support them for free.
Mm,
So they came to me and did not expect me to charge them.
mm,
So for a whole year, I was seeing paid clients doing a lot of work. They were not saying they will pay, and I was not asking for payment.
mm,
And then a day came, but what I did was I kept holding that intention. I kept telling myself, this, I'm not going to go back to salary. I'm going to hang in there. And there were some months when I really had to ask family to support me.
mm,
And I didn't believe that it was possible or that it was time. I had so many beliefs. It's not time. I can't charge people who are already struggling. They're not used to me charging them. They're not used to paying me for the work that I do for them. How do I change the relationship? How will they see me? Will they begin to see me as being greedy? It's like energy healing. It's like energy
yes.
healing. A lot of people think energy healing should be free because, especially if it's Reiki, because you're thinking, oh, it's energy. It's
Mhm.
not something you have studied for 10 years, 4 year
Exactly.
degree. You have an attunement and you connect and you're supposed to give it to us for free. It is an expertise because there's a lot of transformation that goes into being an energy practitioner. So
Yes.
you have a lot of that. But how do I pay for what I am giving if they don't expect me to if they don't expect me to charge for it? Or I need to prove myself. I need to prove that I can do this. I need to give it to them. Then when they like it, they'll give me a gift or they'll spread the word. There's so many things that went through my mind for a whole year. And I was struggling financially. And then I remember saying to myself, the I either live in a world of abundance or a world of lack.
Mhm,
And I cannot be sitting on the fence about this anymore.
mhm,
I have to decide if I am living in forget about whether I am an abundant being or
mhm,
whether I am a being of lack. Am I living in a world that is abundant or am I living in a world that is full of lack? And I began to only want to engage in things that showed wealth, whether it's on TV, whether it's in, clients or whether it's um, um, friends. I wanted to hang out with friends who had money. I thought I'm going to hang out with those who understand their worth. And I want to see that it is not about what I do because I had a friend who all she does is travel around the world and she gets paid by airlines to actually provide
There's some people, the money just
write-ups.
flows to them in spite of them.
Interesting.
In spite of them. I
It
mean,
is
they
the
just
worth.
get it. It just flows to them.
So it's not about what they do.
I'm an
It's
astrologer, so I already know what it is, and it pains me. I already know. But I don't want to believe it, and I want to believe that we can work throughout any of our karmas and our debts or whatever that we've brought into this lifetime. And I want to believe that with all my heart. But I was born with Saturn in the second house of money. And
if there's a
that
but,
that
if
it
you
is
allow
so,
that but,
it is not about whether I knew it or not, because it happened in spite of me. My mother was a poor welfare mother before I got here. She's gone now. But whatever that mindset is and what I saw, what I lived through, I'm still going through it. My daughter is not in the same place, but she's still struggling because maybe she saw my struggle, my mother struggle. So even though she's in a different place financially, she's still struggling too. And then there's the burden of me now, which I'm a burden. Um, I shouldn't say that. That sounds so bad when I say it out loud.
no,
How
it's how you
horrible
feel,
that sounds.
how you feel. And I think it's the acceptance that you have, that openness. I love it. I love the fact that you are honest with yourself because that honesty will take you to that next level. Because sometimes we deny our own truth. Um, and there is our physical ego truth and the kind of our spirit truth. And we have to, first of all, nurture that ego and understand that this is, and all the stories that I have as well. My mother did this, my father did this. This is my heritage, this is my lineage. All of that I have to put on the table. I have to see it. And then a time comes when, and this sometimes I know it sounds as if um, one is saying dismiss what you know about yourself. But a time comes to set it aside. A time comes to say, actually, there are people that believe in a world of abundance.
Yeah.
And I am going to begin to take the small steps every day. And there are different modalities that work for us. This is why Daily Soul Bites my book. It's so because it really shows the
It's true.
different perspectives of the ego self, which is this is my life, this is what my family, this is what I deserve, my my there's so much lack in the entire world. No matter how far you go, you always come back
There
to where
is
you started.
There is
There's so
exquisite
much of that.
abundance, though. There is exquisite abundance. Like it exists. We know
And
it
to
does.
really begin to align to it, to
Yeah.
begin to say it, because alignment is really choosing to align to it, choosing to believe in it, choosing to say it, choosing to act like it is true, choosing to whenever you I want to get something. I sent my son to get some butter. We ran out of butter, and there are two there is the cheap butter and there is the kind of more expensive butter. um and he said to me, Mom, I got the more expensive butter because I knew that when I get home you will ask me,
Ah,
because as soon as he stepped in the door, that was the first thing I asked him. I said, which butter did you buy?
he knows his mom. I love it. That's
And he said,
beautiful.
my goodness, I knew you were going to ask me that. So I bought the expensive butter.
That
That's
is
so interesting, isn't
funny.
it? Because and that's about alignment. It's about him deciding that I am going to choose this because he had money to buy the butter that I buy, that we use. But he could have saved some money. He could have
Yeah.
saved a pound and got him a packet of crisp or something. But he decided to use the money that he had to buy what he knew he was worth.
Right. Can I ask you
And
a question?
yeah,
Aren't you a Taurus?
yes,
I knew it. I just knew it. You you may not realize this. You already vibrate to abundance naturally.
I
It
didn't
oozes
always
from
feel
you.
it.
It oozes
Yes.
from you. There's a luxury, a royalty that is about you. I feel it when I talk to you always. It's the way you present yourself. And I know before you had a series where you were talking about how to present yourself in a calm, presented
Yes.
manner and that type of thing. You always have that about you. And I just want you to know that someone who is born a Taurus, you naturally vibrate to money. It is your birthright, literally.
I have read that. Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't, I have, and that's interesting
yeah,
because I was reading about that from my teens, in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s. I was reading about abundance, reading about how Taurus is all about money, how Taurus is all about, beauty.
yeah.
And I didn't feel all of that.
Wow.
I did not feel it because of the trauma and the density that I had come through. Because we get disconnected from our worth. We get disconnected from the beauty that we truly are, the light that we are. We are separated and we are really living life as our physical ego being. But the time comes when that physical ego being, which is all about survival, all about fear, all about anxiety, it doesn't understand love. The physical ego doesn't understand love. It gravitates towards chaos. It gravitates towards, all the things that could possibly go wrong. And it's like if there's a channel that is showing all the grueling stuff, that's showing all the doom, all the apocalypse, all the slavery stories, that's where the ego is gonna go.
Yes.
It's gonna stay on that channel. If there's one that's showing love, that's showing wonderful things that our people are doing to each other, showing abundance that people are experiencing, showing worth, showing compassion. You don't you don't necessarily turn that on if you are letting the ego drive you. But alignment is when I'm feeling that inclination to switch on that channel that is talking about apocalypse, I do not do it.
Mm-hmm.
I say to myself, I'm going to switch on that channel of love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to resonate that channel of compassion. I'm going to share. If I hear a rumor about somebody that passed, um, there was somebody who said to me that Eddie Murphy had passed, and I love Eddie
I
Murphy,
do
you
too.
know. Yeah, and my first husband looked like Eddie Murphy. My son has a bit of an Eddie Murphy look to him. So he there was a rumor that he passed at one point. Um, and I chose not to spread it.
Mm,
I just chose that I will not align to that. I went online and I checked and I saw that he was alive
yeah.
and I decided not to spread it. And those are the kind of things I mean when I say choosing, aligning, to do the things that are of a higher perspective. It's like it's very similar to watching TV and the channels we decide to watch. We can decide to watch those channels that are definitely based around fear, around destruction. I no longer watch any films that have to do with slavery. I no
Mm,
longer watch the news and all the things that perpetuate a sense a sadness, a sense of helplessness, a sense of doom.
yeah.
I intentionally sign up to Gaia. I intention into Gaia TV. I intentionally sign up to YouTube channels that are talking about spirituality, talking about how to empower myself. It may be boring at first, one may go to and fro. You can watch it on Monday, you can watch Love and Compassion on Monday, and then go back to all the fear and doom because that seems more exciting, it seems more dramatic. But
Mm,
when I wake up in the morning and I do my habits, I read books like Daily Soul Bites that really remind me to step into a higher frequency, to step into a higher perspective. And I know that I've had enough of the doom and gloom on a serious note.
mhm,
I'm telling myself that I have had enough of this.
mm,
Even though it's taken me a long time to let it go, I'm reminding myself on a daily basis,
mm,
whether it's through my mantras or through the books or through mantras or my vision board, whatever modality works. But it takes conscious effort and it takes dedication to
mm,
use those tools around us to rewire because
mm,
we're rewiring very, very endemic conditioning.
mm.
And it's us, it's the self
Mm,
trying to work with the self, but it's the higher self. Now, allowing that ego self to feel love, to
mm,
feel safe.
mhm.
And each time I go back to watching those channels that are definitely of doom and gloom, I'm gentle with myself.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, actually, I'm just going to watch this, but I'm not going to do it tomorrow.
Mm,
And I may do it again tomorrow, but I still tell myself, it's okay. I'm not going to watch it tomorrow. And then there is a light in me every time I show myself that compassion.
mm,
Every time, the only way we change and surrender is through compassion, not through angst, not through anger. Even when I hear myself telling myself something negative,
mm,
about myself. Like, I am not a good mother. I don't give my children enough time because sometimes I'm so busy.
mm.
I'm not like today. I went with my son. His first son is a trainee sous chef, in a cafe here in London, and I went with him today to spend the whole day with him in the cafe. And
Wow.
I wish I could do that more, but I'm not able to do it as often as I want to,
Yeah.
as often as he tells me. Sometimes he says to me, Mom, you must come every week. And I say, oh, okay, I'm going to try, son. Because, we do have all these things, all these roles we have to play. And we sometimes beat ourselves up when we cannot do certain things. But we must be honest with ourselves to say, I'm doing the best that I can, honestly. Because that is the truth. At any point in time, no matter what we're doing the best. That is our natural inclination. So that is number one, for us to know that even though I'm doing this, even though I am feeling this, even though I am experiencing this, I am doing the best that I can.
Mm.
That statement is a higher perspective.
I love
It's
that.
based on love, it's based on compassion. And that light will shine and empower us to do more of what will give us the best outcomes. So
Mm,
this is what I really aspire to, because there are parts of me that are still going through trauma healing.
mm,
There are parts of me that still have these beliefs that I am not enough in a particular area. For instance, there is this part of me that believes that the fact that I do not teach the science of Reiki is not enough, that I should spend more time teaching the science of Reiki rather than the spirituality of it.
mm,
And there are different types of modalities of energy healing around. And what I have come to now accept is I am doing what feels right for me. I did not I did not come into Reiki through the science route.
mm,
I came into Reiki through my life experience, through having high blood pressure, having depression, being on drugs.
mm,
When I say drugs, on medication,
mm,
and finding myself beginning to feel better every time I had a Reiki energy healing session.
mm,
Finding my son, who was not able to sleep at night, being able to sleep better. That
mm,
is how I got into Reiki. That is how I got into energy healing. And I began to find myself able to actually charge my clients for the work that I'm doing. This is whether I'm doing energy healing or whether I'm giving them legal advice. I was able to now own that sense of worth that actually, and it was a little, I only started with 20 pounds an hour. This is how much I could charge. And sometimes you can only start with 10 pounds an hour.
mhm,
But whatever it is that we can start with is where we are, because we will go up level after level after level. And then a time came and I will tell my clients, actually now I no longer charge this amount. From this date, this is 2022, I'm now charging 2022 fees. I'm now charging 2023 fees. And it goes on. And somehow the more are aligned to the perspective of light, the and align more to energy healing. I paid for my energy healing sessions because I wanted to feel better. I did not um, allow myself to say that it was too expensive. I did not allow myself to wallow in self pity because that is so easy for us to just say there's nothing I can do. My mother was depressed. I have aunties who were depressed, or say it's because I don't have a man in my life, or say one thing or the other. And I knew that I needed help, and which modality around me is accessible, which is affordable, which is making me feel better. I'm going to keep linking up with that, linking up with that. There was a time when I paid, when I asked my Reiki energy healer to break my fee into two. I said to her, "Can I pay you over 2 weeks?" Because I couldn't afford it, but I knew I needed the energy healing. So it's something around that, that it's regardless of whatever inclinations we have, because those inclinations of the physical ego self will always be there, they never go away. We will always feel inclined to do drama. We will always feel inclined to watch the apocalypse. And funnily enough, we will always have friends who will book us tickets for theater of slavery shows. We have
Yeah.
all kinds of, there are things that will come and test us and say, um, are you going to go down this route? Are you going to go down this route? So it's either the ego route or the spiritual route. And we just keep choosing this more and more. And what it does when we keep choosing this life is that we become familiar with it, become more and more familiar with it. And it begins to expand within us. That energy, because everything is energy, that energy, the higher frequency, everything is a cycles per second. Every single cell, every single thing, this particular glass, this particular mug is vibrated at a particular frequency, and we can align to higher frequencies again and again and again. And that familiarity really is what begins to create our outcomes in our day to day. That's the law of attraction. It's not about you know, any other thing apart
What if you're
from the
aligning with
frequency.
failure?
What did you say?
What if you're aligning with failure? I feel like I'm
That
aligning with
awareness
failure.
is that awareness is so key. When we know, because that knowing that I'm aligning with this, then it's about saying, what else do I want to align? What around me inspires me to align with success, to align with worth, to align with knowledge, to align with my passion? And there are different things around. It could be books, it could be a conversation, it could be a video. Because sometimes all you can do is just turn on YouTube and
It's
I'm typing in, because I love Bashar. Bashar is an extraterrestrial entity that really shares information that is so full of wisdom, clarity, and wisdom. And there's so many different spiritual teachers, Adyashanti, Muji, Matt Khan. There's so many spiritual teachers. And sometimes when I have that sensation or inclination or awareness that I'm aligning with something I do not want, I have to allow myself to turn on YouTube,
mm,
to grab a book,
mm,
because it's down to me. It's down to me. And then I can begin to form healthy habits. It doesn't happen in a day, but
right,
it never happens if we
right,
don't do it.
right.
It never,
Your
ever. And
constant battle.
some people will come into this lifetime and be in failure for the entire lifetime.
Yeah.
And this is not something, it's not about right or wrong, because we've all come to do different things. There are
Oh
8
my
billion
gosh. That is
Right.
the acceptance of that. That is the hardest part. That's why I brought up the fact that I have Saturn in Aquarius in the second house. I want to say, "Oh, I'm going to beat this," right? This is just a thing. This is momentarily, or this is something I've done, or we all want to blame ourselves. But then I'm thinking, wait, maybe my lesson is that I am actually here for poverty. Like, this is some lesson that I'm here for. I don't know why. I don't get it. I do have like this weird, I can't explain it, Bola. I think I was really rich in a prior lifetime, like super rich, like
Okay.
super really rich. Because I see this house and it's weird. I always feel like we live in parallel worlds, but I lived in this gorgeous mansion, gorgeous. I still see it. I still feel it. I still am in it. I still see my piano. I still see my spiral staircases. I still see my open kitchen. I still see it. It's weird, and I use it for my sanctuary. I don't know if you've ever done that where you create a sanctuary and you go into it. So
Yeah.
that's my sanctuary. Oh, but in reality, I'm living in a one bedroom in Seattle, in the city, on the worst block, one of the worst blocks in Seattle, where there's drug dealers and killers outside of my door. That's my reality. And people look at me online, like a lot of people think, oh, well, just imagine or just do this or just, I'm like, everything you see about me is my fantasy and imagination that I put into reality. Otherwise, you wouldn't even see me. I would just be one of the drug or prostitutes out on the corner. But I chose not to be that. I'm me, right? I'm pursuing this goal, this dream, this whatever. And I'm like, okay, maybe in this lifetime, maybe I'm not so. I keep thinking though, Bola, that out of the blue, I am going to be super rich. I don't know why. I just feel it. So a part of me just holds on to that, and I'm like, okay, it's not working now, and I'm 61. Like I've been waiting since I was 17. So it's like, oh my gosh, time is getting, it's getting a little late here, but I just feel like it's happening. I still feel it. I know that sounds crazy, because
No, it
like where does
doesn't.
that faith or belief come from when you're living in squalor? But I got this
Mm.
crazy belief. And every once in a while, I feel like I'm getting so close and then it backs away. And I know that's maybe my limiting belief that keeps pulling me back. But I'm like, I feel like I'm getting so close and then it pulls back. I'm getting so close.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay if there is a one step forward and one step back.
Hmm.
And I because I there's so many forms of abundance, I always say. It's not only about money. Sometimes there are, the fact that we have gifts, people give us gifts, or the fact that we have people who will do things for us, trading and exchanging things for us. That there may be some things around, the synchronicity around, because synchronicity is really about coincidence. You're finding yourself experiencing a lot of coincidences. Sometimes because we're only focusing on the money, we don't see all the other things. And gifts is not always something you receive. Gifts could be just somebody giving you, um, you're driving and somebody gives you a chance to get into the lane. That's a gift. Or somebody who you did something to, that you did not serve their best intentions, forgives you. That's a gift. Forgiveness from somebody is a gift. And whatever the form of abundance, it's the same energy, it's the same frequency. And when we begin to notice more and more the different forms of abundance in our lives, we expand. Whatever we focus on is what expands. Whatever we focus on. But there was a time when I was focusing on criticisms. I was into politics, so I would criticize all the political leaders, and that never ends.
Yeah.
You know how when you start to
It
criticize
really is bad.
political leaders, and you start from your country,
Yeah.
and then you go to the next
Yeah.
country, then you go to the next continent,
You can just keep going.
and then you can go to you've a worldwide critic.
Yeah.
And politics is endless.
It
You have
really is.
one regime and another. I was busy.
Yes.
I was busy, but I was vibrating at a very low frequency.
Mm,
And I had to begin to let that go.
mm,
And I began to look for spiritual teachers
mm,
who I could watch. And then people began to send me videos.
mm,
They were sending, and there was a time when a friend sent me a video of Muji.
mm.
And I said, who is this person? Because I've been sending you these videos for years. I didn't, and then I went through my WhatsApp. Yes,
They have been sending you videos.
but I never resonated with them.
Isn't that funny?
It's so interesting because when I look through my WhatsApp, that if she had told me that she had been sending me those videos for years, I would have said, if there was no history in WhatsApp, I would have put a bet on it
You would
that
have
she
fought
was.
her. You didn't see him at all.
But it is
It's
so interesting that
hilarious.
we don't see it.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
will not see it if we're not vibrating at that frequency.
yeah.
So I began to now realize that there were people around me who had been pulling me into that higher vibration for years.
Mm.
And I had mistaken it for religion. And
Oh.
I added there was a part of me that was saying it's the same.
Mhm,
It's not real. It's just going to another form of conditioning.
mhm,
I'm not going to get engaged. But there's a difference between religion and spirituality.
mhm.
And because spirituality is more about your relationship with spirit,
Right,
as opposed to your relationship with a set of doctrines and a set um, of literature,
right.
um, of practice.
Or
There is
deities, because they usually are dealing
yes,
with deities.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So there was definitely um, there were deep beliefs that I held that stopped me from aligning to higher perspectives or even the spiritual practice that I knew I needed,
Mm,
but somehow I blocked my own self from getting there. And I wanted to touch on what you said, Adrienne, about how this particular lifetime seems to be about you exploring poverty.
mm,
And that is okay as long as you don't feel that life is um, there needs to be an acceptance around it.
mm,
And if there is something in you that is not fully accepting, enjoying an experience,
mm,
we do not have to keep it.
mm,
That is a sign. If there is something we're doing, if there's a theme we're exploring, and there is a part of us that is not really aligning to it,
mhm.
we can explore that and know that maybe there's an opportunity for me to change.
Oh my gosh, change, such a great word.
It is an opportunity, and change is constant.
Mm,
Things are always changing, but it's being conscious of what it is that we need to change. There are things in my life that I am very satisfied with at the moment, but there are things in my life that I'm also looking to expand,
mhm,
looking to do differently. And it's about me being clear on the things I need to do differently
mhm,
and choosing how I'm going to do them differently. Saying to myself that I'm ready to do it differently.
mhm,
Things we say have such power.
mhm,
I'm ready to experience a different this. I'm ready to experience a different that.
mm.
We will begin to see those experiences that we have that we know we are not fully 100% happy with
Mhm.
begin to change. So I think it's a very conscious mindfulness. The self-awareness, being aware of everything. There's a mindfulness of knowing that we want to choose something different.
Definitely.
And then there is that integration of knowing that even though I'm doing this, which I do not like, I'm also doing this, which I like.
Right.
and allowing those things I like to begin to grow more and more,
Right.
but still allowing myself to hold space with compassion for the things that I'm doing, which I don't particularly like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always interesting because I find there are some shows that I watch which I know I want to watch less.
Mm.
There's some reality shows that I still love to watch,
Mm-hmm.
which I say to myself, hmm, I know this is conditioning me in a particular way,
Right. You can
you
tell.
know,
Yeah.
and I know that I don't want to watch this, but I'm watching them less and less.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still focusing on the things I love to watch, which make me feel better.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. What's the essence we're vibrating at? Is there a sense of well being
Mm.
or a sense of less worth or
Ah,
a sense of lack?
yes.
And being honest with ourselves, knowing that we have the responsibility, it's not going to come from outside. We have the responsibility to actually shift the reality that we are in to a different. I think that's really how I I I really operate and I teach my clients. It's all about the love you're ready to show yourself, ready to integrate all the things that you no longer want, to hold space saying, I'm doing this, but I am going to continue to do more of what I like.
Right.
And somehow the things that we like, we draw us in and we begin to do the things we no longer like or we no longer feel fulfilled in.
Mm-hmm.
We do them less and less and less. And that's the deeper embodiment of higher perspectives, the deeper embodiment of life, using whatever modality works for us. So that's what I say. That's my perspective.
You know what's so funny, Bola, is that when I asked you if you were a Taurus, it's because I have a Taurus moon, which means my emotional stability comes from money. And if I don't have it, then it creates this strained emotional stability. And that's a bill, by the way. That's a medical bill right now. They're calling right
Mm.
now to try to get money. And they're just calling for money, which I don't have. Like they're trying to get money out of me, and I'm like, rent's coming. You ain't getting no money. I got to
Mm.
come up with at least $1,500 for rent out of air. Like like a Pied Piper. I don't know where I get them. I don't know how I'm surviving, Bola. I don't know. I just know I have survived, but I don't know how. I know my daughter is a major reason, and I have I know it's a low vibrant frequency, but guilt because she's
Mm.
sickly. And although she has an ability to make more money than I do, I feel guilt. So there's all of that is involved in this. It's been bad. Like it's there's nothing worse than
You,
you relying on your kid for survival.
mm, mm.
It's a bad vibe.
Or being or feeling or being in debt.
Or
Being
yeah, any of
being
it.
in debt. I remember when I needed to declare myself bankrupt and I had to cut down all of my expenses. I had four phones, four mobile phones. Now I have only one. I somehow had to really look at the opportunities around me. I had to apply to local organizations that give loans. I had to apply for grants.
Mm,
This was on top of the support that family gave to me. I had to, there's something we have here called an IVA. It's an individual voluntary agreement
mm,
where a company will pull together all the debt you have and then they will liaise with the organizations that you owe the money,
Mhm.
and they will actually negotiate you paying a very little amount
Mhm.
over a period of time.
Mhm.
And the organizations usually they would rather get some money than none at all
Mhm.
because they weren't getting anything at all from me. So these are some of the things that I know I began to do. And I'm talking about 20, 25 years ago, where I really began to um, look at the opportunities around me.
Mhm.
And I found you will be surprised when you look at the opportunities, when you decide, you may not even know the opportunities that are around you, but when you decide that I am ready to see them, because they're there, but we will
I
not
know
see
they
them.
are. Oh my gosh.
They're
Bola, I can
there.
feel it. There's so many opportunities. I Some of them they want money, some of them they need commitment. There's just my thing is the discernment of knowing which one is the right one to do. Because like I said, my time is limited, but like I was approached by some guy to franchise out one of my businesses, which is not making me any money, but I've had for 20 years. And they wanted me to sign and do this stuff, and it sounded great, but I didn't have a full idea of it, so I haven't really signed or anything. But the money he was talking was real, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to get into it because I don't want to lose what I've already put 20 years into if there's some shyster. But they're it if what they're talking is real, then they would help me to franchise out my business in a way that I could make money from just training other people to do what I used to do. So I'm like, if that's real, then that could be something I've not even thought about. But there's all these crazy
Yes,
opportunities online like that. It's just knowing which is
yes.
the right one that'll lead to your money and what to avoid that might lead to, absolute failure. Because,
Honestly, sometimes we have to take a risk.
yeah.
And it could be a calculated risk where you want a contract. You actually say, let's draw up a contract, and you will basically sign up for something that you know you have calculated the risk of this. But if it's going to give you something that you want, it's worth it. It's worth engaging with it because it's the opportunity. Because something I always go when it comes to think when it comes to what is this the right one? Is the one in front of me now? Is this the right one? This is the one that is in front of me. This is the one I see.
Mhm.
It's similar to how before I wrote Daily Soul Bites in 2020,
Mhm.
and I had it on Amazon, and it was so quiet, so silent. It was just between me and I.
Mm.
And I didn't have an understanding of what I needed to do to promote it.
Mm.
And then one day I decided, actually, I don't want to just have it on Amazon and have the sales grow in over time. I want this book to be known. I want to have it in not just Kindle. I want it in paperback and audiobook. I want it to be known. I want it to be there to expand, to be used as a modality for anybody who wants to understand what perspectives are higher perspectives. And about a couple of days later, I was on Facebook and I saw something that Hay House was doing. It was a book webinar of some kind, book publishing webinar, and it was free. So I thought, okay, I have been seeing these things for years, but I've never felt the need to book it. But there was a difference in the feeling, and this was about self-awareness.
Mm.
There was more interest because I didn't book it straight away.
Mm.
And then I saw it again the next day, and I still didn't book it.
Mhm.
And then I saw it again the third, and I go, this is coming. This is in front of me, and it's there. It's there in front of me. It's not going. This was my higher self putting it in front of me. So I signed up for it. And it was for a whole week. And it was requiring me to get clear on why I wrote this book.
Mm.
I over this 5 days, they show you how to talk about the book. They show you um, how to look for an editor, how to basically promote it, and they also offer to publish it on your behalf, and they talk about the publishing process. And I kept thinking to myself, I bet this is going to cost money. I bet they're not going to publish this for free. But I hung in there. I hung in there. And then I began to hear the figures of how much it would cost to publish it. It was thousands to publish it. I'm thinking, okay, this is what I knew would happen. But I still hung in there. And there was a particular webinar where they said, if you want to talk to somebody who can actually give you a contract, and you understand more about the book publishing contract, come to this webinar, to this particular session. I thought, okay. So it was like we get pulled back, but we keep going forward.
Mm.
Take the next small step towards your dream. But acknowledge that you're being pulled back, but still let yourself go forward a little bit more. And it was at this seminar that I actually got discouraged with the amount of money that they said it would cost to publish the book and to publish the paperback. And I didn't book the discovery call. Um, and then I went to another session, and there was one of the leaders in A House that was talking in that session. And the leader said to me, I asked a question and said to me, why don't you book a discovery call? Why? What do you have to lose? Just book a discovery call with one of my colleagues and they will talk to you about this. And I booked the call and I didn't actually go on the Zoom that day. I understand the meaning of resistance. I tell you,
I've been there. I've been there.
I understand the meaning of resistance. And then I just got a call out of the blue. And he said, I was on the Zoom call waiting for you. What happened to you? I decided to call. I don't normally call. I decided to call. And I knew, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to wait any longer. I'm going to go with this. And he said to me, I can give you a really good deal. And I said, yes, this is much cheaper than I've heard.
Mm.
It's much cheaper than I've heard. And I said, it was still in thousands, but I said, I will go for it if you allow me to pay in installments.
Mm.
And he said, let me hold on, I will check. And he went and he checked and he came back and said, that's fine, you can pay it over 4 months. And that's how I got the deal.
Mm.
And then it's been one thing, this is like you will have the doubts, but you also will have the little synchronicities that will just pull you forward. And it's about beginning to develop that self awareness of those things that pull us forward.
Mm.
The higher perspectives, there will be something around what we desire. There will be something that is saying it's possible. There will be something that would inspire us, something that would make us feel powerful,
Mm.
empowered, something that will make us feel good.
Mm. Mm.
And just leaning towards it, going towards it, in spite of because we think I will go towards it when I have no more doubt. No.
Right.
I will go towards it when I stop feeling this way. No.
Right.
The integration of the polarities, the resistance will still be there.
Mm.
The resistance will be there at 12 o'clock, the resistance will be there at 1 o'clock, but at 2 minutes past one, we could still find ourselves making that call.
Mm-hmm.
And and I found that a lot of people, this is how a lot of successful people, this is how they get through. They do not allow their doubts to stop them.
Mm.
They
Mm-hmm.
do not allow the resistance they made or decisions they made yesterday to stop them from making the decisions they need to make
Mm.
today.
Mhm.
or in this particular present moment. So I think it's important to understand that integration of polarities, because I know there was a time when I felt that I will not, if I have any doubt, I'm not going to step forward. We have to step forward regardless of the doubts.
Mm.
And then we will see the opportunities around us because they are there. We're just not seeing them because we're choosing not to look at them. But
Mm.
once we begin to, is the willingness. All the universe asks of us is a willingness, for that willingness to be there. And I know that even to this day, there are there are things that, because I remember him saying to me, we can only do the paperback, but if you pay this amount, we would also do the audiobook. And
Mm.
a part of me said, don't add any more money to it, just do the paperback, just do the audiobook. And I thought, actually, I'm gonna do the audiobook. And I booked for the audiobook. And this is the principles that we can test ourselves out with. That even though I feel this way, I'm gonna still do this in small steps,
Mm.
not what is gonna make us feel anxious. Because I had I had by the time I signed up, I knew I had some degree of income that I knew that if I broke it down into months, I would be
You could
okay.
do it. Yeah.
If I had signed up for something that meant I had to pay in a week,
Right.
some other person may have the degree of confidence to do that.
Right.
Because the bottom line is, now I know how things work. If we do believe it, the money will come.
Mm.
Because we all have these opportunities around us. Either somebody, I've been in my home years ago when one of my cousins came and gave me £1,000. And she said, I was told to come and give you this.
Wow.
This is how the universe works. Because we I was ready to receive that help. I was ready to believe that abundance comes, money comes when I need it.
Mm.
And these are principles and perspectives that we can begin to hold using different modalities that help us to hold it. When I say hold, to keep it at the back of our minds
Yeah.
every every day, because there's so much conditioning that is keeping it
Yeah, because
away
some
from the mind
days you
completely.
have it, yeah, and then it wavers and you forget. Like, I already learned that lesson, right? And yeah, so you're right. You got to hold firm to whatever it is that you've learned.
Yes, and know that there may still be doubt, but I'm going to hold on anyway.
Hmm.
There may even as every month was coming, I was like, oh my goodness, why did I sign up for this book deal? I shouldn't have signed up for this book deal. It wasn't the best thing to do, but somehow I made it
It was
because I
meant to
believe
be. It was meant to be.
it. It is so interesting that our goodness is meant to be.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Our goodness, our higher outcomes are meant to be. But I think it takes us a while to align to those perspectives that allow us to vibrate at a frequency that draws it in, that attracts it in.
I do see. My thing is, I believe that 100%. I just feel like I must be going through some strange karmic clearing or something, because I've been in situations like you're talking about, but it doesn't end well. Like,
Mm.
I've invested my last time. I've invested my last dollar. I've bounced over 10 times already this month. I mean, this year. We're only in the eighth month. I've I've bounced every month this year. Every month, at least once. And I keep thinking, I think there might have been one month I escaped it and we partied. I couldn't believe it. But it's been bad. Like, and all I can do is think there's fear because I keep taking those. I am a risk taker in a way, right? I'm one of those people who had
We
like
all, yeah,
five
yeah, we
businesses
all
at
do.
one time, right? You know I am. So if I get inspired, I'll take inspired action. But it doesn't mean that the other person's on the up and up. They might have just been a good salesperson. Like I have gotten scammed so many freaking times, Paula, because I want to believe there is this like, oh, I got this Pollyanna thing, I want to believe. I really do. And so I have been burned. I have been ripped off. I've been basic right now, and I've got identity theft going on. And it's probably something I signed up to, and they got my info. And it's, but even so, even with all of that, I still believe that the right thing is still on its way to me. I still believe that. Because
And
I
how
still
do you
believe.
maintain that belief? How do
I
you
don't know. I just feel like there's no way that someone could put this much ish into the vortex and not get something back. There's got to be so much money in that effing vortex for me right now. If you listen to Abraham Hicks, it has got to be so freaking full of shit in that vortex that wants to pour down upon me right now. And that's why I keep trying. I'm like, one of these things is going to hit. I feel
uh,
it, Bola, in my bones. I just have to live long enough. But the thing is, I know it's coming.
mm. And
And
it's
this
the
sounds crazy.
alignment. It's the alignment, Adrian. It's the alignment. The things that we're doing. There was a day when I used to have these affirmations,
Mm,
about 15, 20 affirmations that I would say to myself. That worked for me. It doesn't always work for everybody. I then translated them into subliminal affirmations. So I have the subliminal affirmations and I had the written affirmations. And that works for me. I also have the vision board
yes,
because sometimes we want something to happen, but we're not rewiring.
yes,
The rewiring has to take place,
yes.
and the rewiring has to be consistent.
Mm,
The same way the conditioning, because we're talking about years of conditioning, it's embedded. We have to almost like dig it out and align to the higher perspectives. And we may use energy because energy healing is effortless. Energy healing really goes into our energy meridians, into our cells, and expands the cell because it infuses life force, it infuses love into those cells, and the cells release, they let go of the doubts, they let go of the lower perspectives.
mhm,
So there are things that we need to do that have nothing to do with making money. They have to do with raising our frequency. And
definitely.
it may be the last thing we do at night. It may be watching something on YouTube. It may be reading a book. But we are knowing that we can have what we want, but we are also raising our frequency.
Yes.
There is action that needs to happen, that we need to take, habits we need to do. It doesn't, when I realized that my grandfather was a member of an organization called Sea Dogs,
Mm,
I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
mm,
They have mantras, they have routines. It's it's something similar to the Masons. That you
mm,
don't know if you ever heard of the Masons, but they really are about. It's very similar to spiritual practice,
mm.
but they align to higher principles of life, believing in their power. They believe in empowering themselves. They
Mm,
believe in abundance. They will help each other out. They will inspire each other. They read books far and wide. They share ideas.
mhm.
They will support each other to build their ideas, to turn their ideas into reality. It's like a community
Yeah.
of brothers that are all about expanding each other. Their focus is on expansion. Their focus is on staying aligned to what they consider to be their truth.
No.
And those kinds of things, I didn't know that it's been around since 1800s. It's been
Yes.
these people have been doing, but they don't necessarily make it public.
Mhm.
They don't necessarily tell. You know the way you and I are talking, like I am doing all the stuff I'm doing. I'm talking about it. I have family members who are doing the same, but they're not necessarily on YouTube or on Facebook.
Right. Right.
Not everybody talks about what they do, but every successful person that I have known, that I have met, has a routine,
Mm.
has a habit about empowering themselves.
Yes.
It's not about how rich they are, it's about how they're vibrating. It's about how they feel fulfilled within.
Yes.
So those habits have to become part of what we want to have in our day to day.
Yes.
We whether it's drinking differently or not drinking
Yes.
at all, or not drinking certain things, not associating with certain people, not going to certain events. The things we do and how they make us feel, we take responsibility for them,
Mhm.
as well as knowing that I am still in this place of death, but I'm going to start doing things differently. But I don't know anybody who doesn't have really powerful habits. And, it's like stacking the energy. It's like waking up in the morning and you're doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this to keep you high. Because you know that there's also some things around that you don't see
Yeah.
that are bringing you, keeping you
It's true.
down.
Absolutely so true. For myself, I do like a hypnosis. I had a hypnotist that was a friend of mine. He was actually the number one hypnotist in America at one point, but he passed away. But we had recorded our sessions, and he was a healer hypnotist. And there's one particular session where I get to go into, I just can't explain it. It's into a beautiful place.
Yeah,
And I like to go and hear that at least twice a week, minimum. Because once I come out of that, it's almost like I reset. So that reset, I've listened to that every day on bad weeks. But when I go there to that place, I'm healed, I'm loved, I'm filled, I'm whole. And I can
that's
see the
beautiful.
big picture. It takes me to a whole different place. And almost,
Do it for a year.
yeah, I've been doing it for several years now. But the thing is, when I come back out of doing that hypnosis, the next day is always something beautiful. It's always something good that happens.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I
yeah,
believe the practices are
yes,
vital. And as you know, I dance every day because I've lost the 300 pounds or whatever.
yes. Powerful.
Yeah, that
What
changes your
other
life.
modalities do you use? What other things do you use?
Well, I'm a sacred soul alignment healer. I do that. I'm also a uh, well, abundance and manifestation life coach, a meditation life coach. I work in numerology and astrology as my own, and created my own modality, which is called Astronumeralland, and I offer that to clients who want that, along with
Mm,
the spiritual healing. So I'll go into someone's horoscope and I can see where the problems are. And then when I talk with them and we discuss their horoscope, I can see how what they consider to be the problems are.
mm.
And the ones that meet up and I see are the real problems are what we heal. And that's how I do that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I've
Because
had
you
some
do
really
have,
good response.
you definitely have the opportunities there already that are able to bring money in. And I always find that we may have 10 opportunities that are there to bring money in, but there will be one that is always bringing money in.
Yeah,
There will be that one. And I think acknowledging that, because it may not be the one we like the most to
yeah,
start with.
yeah.
It may not be the one we want to bring money in and stuff, but it's the one that we are being called to do more of
Mm,
and have less resentment, have less judgment around. Because I remember that when I started my soul space healing business, and also had my legal advice business. Legal advice business has always been the one that has been really powerful. And I realized that it was changing lives.
Mm,
It was the one that was creating the most impact in the collective consciousness.
mm,
And for some reason, I didn't want to do it because it involves dealing with a lot of shadow,
mm,
dealing with a energy healing is so beautiful
mm,
for me. When I do it for myself in self healing, when I do it for others, but it was not having enough collective impact to actually bring in the money that I wanted
yeah,
from it.
yeah.
But legal advice was able to do that. So I was, and I think self awareness is so key. Being aware of the things around us that are giving us this message is key. And then saying to ourselves, how am I going to allow myself to do more of it?
Mm,
Because this is a message to me.
mm,
This is the one that paid my bills last month. This is the same one that paid my, this one I'm wanting to do. It's not paying the bills.
right.
It's a message. And we can be gentle on ourselves. And I began to say to myself, okay, I do want to do more of this legal advice actually, but I want to do less of it and get paid more.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
That happened
Wow.
because it was because I was doing so much of it and I didn't think I was being paid enough.
Mhm,
So sometimes we have to look at the reasons behind some of the experiences we're having, some of the opportunities that we have put out there, some of the, um, I call them money contracts. Some of these money contracts that we have, some of them need us to understand the meanings behind why the contract is a bit more.
mhm.
And I had to do a lot of energy healing around those contracts. And now there is a lot more flow
Wow.
because there's the book, there's my energy healing, there's my legal advice practice, there's also passive courses online. I
Wow.
have courses that are about 3, 4 courses that are really just there for people to order and study, self-study. Because there was a time when I felt nobody would buy those self-study courses because they want to connect with the real person. I didn't even know I had that belief.
Wow.
I didn't know I believed that nobody will want the self because but then somebody just told me that they like to do this in their own time.
Mhm,
They just want to have this. They don't want to necessarily connect with somebody. They just want to have the book and study it in their own time. There are people who really want that. And I've been one of those people
mm.
to just buy the course and study it in my own time. Not necessarily connecting with anybody.
I like that. I
You know what I mean? So to
I
be more to open up to these money contracts and
yes, I
allow
like that.
them to actually bring in what we need with less resistance, less of a doubt that it can work because money can come in even in our sleep. We don't have to get out of bed. We don't have to do anything for money to come in. It's based on our work.
Mm,
It's based on the frequency, how fulfilled we feel, how
mm,
worthy we feel, how connected, how supported we feel.
mm.
When I began, because I remember doing hypnosis as well and feeling that sense of love and doing my stillness meditation with Adrienne and feeling that sense of love. And I began to spend more and more time connecting with those frequencies.
Mm.
And when I said more and more time, it was over decades,
Wow.
over decades.
Wow. Okay.
Because when I think about how much conditioning I had had for decades,
Yeah.
I needed the decade. Some other person may not need the decade,
Yeah.
but I needed it.
Yeah.
And I had to give myself that time to actually work through those contracts and understand why I was blocking them. Because there's no reason why astrology shouldn't make you a millionaire.
I just had a thought come across me that I've never thought about before to this moment. But when I thought about my horoscope chart, I'm like, yeah. So I just thought it just flashed by me like, I don't think I have support from others because I have no support from my family. Where did that come from?
Hmm.
Where did that come from? I get
That's a powerful core belief. Yeah.
oh my gosh, my family on the don't really support me. They don't. I've got over 100 cousins. I see them supporting each other, liking each other's posts, doing things with each. They don't do that with me. So there is this core belief that there's something wrong with me, or basically, I hear you have no support, which and I don't, but I and now I feel like, oh, I can't buy support, like, get assistants or VAs because that's money. But there's this sadness that I don't have it naturally from friends and family. Like some people do. Some people do that. Have friends and family that support them. I don't. I don't
Hmm.
even get
You have
phone.
your daughter.
I have my daughter and my son-in-law.
Yeah.
But the
And
rest of
and
my
that
family, I don't
and
even get calls from. I mean, unless they
and
want
s-
money.
and really there was a time when I also only had one person supporting me. And I have hundreds of family members. And I had to turn to God. I
Mm,
had to turn to universal energy.
mhm.
Because that support, feeling supported is important.
Right.
Feeling supported is really, really important. And sometimes that support doesn't come in physical form.
Right.
Sometimes the only support we're going to get is from spirit.
From God. Right.
And we cannot be judging where that kind of support. You can't be saying, I must get support from here. That is free.
Yeah.
That support from universal energy is free. And I get it from YouTube. I get it from books. I get it from connections I make with people on my podcast. It's a loving energy that I now sense and I enjoy. I
Yeah.
sense it and I stay with it and I enjoy it and I let it feed me. It
Yeah.
feeds. It's not something that is not tangible.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Yeah. When it's positive, it feels so good.
Yes.
Yes.
And then when we begin to stay in it, ideas come
Yeah.
because that frequency of unconditional love is really the frequency of creativity,
Mm.
the frequency of problem solving. When we stay with that um, feeling of support, wherever it's going to come from, it could come from my cat, it could come from my dog, it could come from anywhere. But it's about how I continue to align myself, to choose, to engage with it. Read a book. I remember how many times I read A Course in Miracles. My goodness,
Oh my gosh, I have a Course
of,
in Miracles.
of Conversations with God by Neil
The
Donald,
chair, the chair is not
or
real chair.
I reading has always been my modality. And Louise Hay,
I love it.
Deepak Chopra,
Yes.
there's so many.
I think this is
Ajahn
why I vibe
Shanti.
with you. I can tell you like a lot of things I like. So when you're talking, it just feels so good. Like it vibes. Yes.
This I allow, now I do channeling. I do light language channeling, and it connects me to a very high frequency that
Mm.
it's not even just words, it's light. It's light, it's sound, it's intuition, it's telepathy. I get told what to do. I've got a case coming up and it will tell me what to research.
Mm.
I, and sometimes we think, oh, will it help me to do my day-to-day stuff? Yes,
Wow.
that alignment to the support we get from spirit allows us to get the ideas, the inspiration, the solutions the confidence to tap into whatever we need to solve the problems. You will be surprised. The more you will be aligning to those things that you have expertise in, what you teach, because sometimes we have to walk more. Because I remember doing my subliminal tapes and leaving it on my website and not actually doing it myself every day.
Yeah.
And when I began to do it, I realized, because this was recorded in my own voice,
Yeah.
it was so powerful for me.
Wow.
And I began to see myself solve problems more and more. I began to see myself in timelines where I am being given a second chance.
Yes.
See myself in timelines where magic is happening,
Yeah.
where I'm told, oh, we were not going to advertise this job. Um, we were not going to, or no, or we were going to advertise this job, but now that we've met you, we will not advertise it. We will just, we will just contract
Hire
you.
you. Yeah. That's amazing.
The things like that that you
Yeah.
consider to be magic begin to happen.
Yeah.
So for me, it is so powerful to really stay aligned and keep choosing to be fulfilled, keep choosing to feel better, keep choosing to have the um the people that we know want our better self, not those who want us to spend 1 hour on the phone cursing each other or cursing other people
Yeah.
out, because that can sometimes sound like fun.
Yeah.
Or, I have friends who I could call up and I know we would spend an hour cursing all the political leaders in the world. We would start with my town and go into my country and go into my continent.
We
And
got
we would,
Trump, so you know I can do it here.
we would,
You
oh
know how
my
horrible that
goodness.
is.
We, and there's a part of me that still enjoys that.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that still
Yeah.
enjoys that.
It is true.
I know that it doesn't actually serve my better good anymore. It did at one point
Right.
where I was, but at this point in time, I don't come away from that phone call feeling inspired. I
Yeah.
come away from that phone call feeling quite angry.
Yeah.
I come away from that phone call feeling quite sad,
Yeah.
feeling like the world is not a good place,
Yeah.
feeling like we do have leaders who we need to get rid of, but how are we going to do it?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes
And
yeah.
feeling quite helpless.
Yeah. Yep. Lack of empowerment. Yeah.
Yes. So I had to ask, and there's some people who don't. When I mentioned this to my friend, and I said to her, I said, I can't be having these conversations with you. When I come out of these conversations, I don't feel good. Really? She
Yeah.
said, but you used to.
Yeah.
We would come out of this conversation, we would write letters, we would do petitions, we would be inspired. I said, yes, but I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
And we lose friends and it can be isolating.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had come to the end of that phase. And because I wasn't feeling as fulfilled that I needed to feel with it. And it's about being honest with self. And it takes time to let it go. But we continue to let it go
Yeah.
as we continue to do those practices that we have resonated with. Because those things that you do, those things that I do, it's not by coincidence.
Yeah.
Not everybody reads.
Yeah.
Nothing is like, it's not like one hat for everybody. Whatever I'm resonating with is meant for me.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Astrology is meant for you. You're so good at it.
Yeah.
There's so many things, so many there are the same number of modalities as we have human beings, billions of modalities.
Yes.
And what we align to, and we may align to something in one year and it may change another year, but there are always things where we feel resonating. We feel we are resonating with, and it's not a coincidence. And making time to do those things every single day,
Yeah.
become obsessed with it. It has to become an obsession. And then You may get a phone call from the medical people who want money, who want the money. And someone just says to you, pick up that call today. And you pick up the call that day. You know, you may think it's impossible, but it is possible. You pick up the call and they say, we've been trying to reach you. How much can you honestly pay in a month? How much? Tell us how much. We're ready to. You would not believe how you would connect with compassion when you show yourself that compassion. You would see that reflection outside. You would drop the phone and go, do you know what just happened? I cannot believe in this universe that that could ever happen.
I used
I
to do that for
remember
people, by the way. I used to be a recovery specialist. That's what I did.
there
I would
are,
make
yes,
people's
that's the
lives
word.
happy. I would help take down their
So you
debt.
even so
I,
it can happen.
oh
I
yeah.
remember there was what was it I was gonna say just now? Um I can't remember what it is, but there was a miracle like that had happened for me. And I was so shocked that I just got that compassion shown to me. But really, it's about us having a deeper compassion for ourselves. And then we see that compassion reflected back
Yeah.
to us in ways that we would not even imagine.
That is so true. I think you're hitting on something. Okay, you mentioned astrology a moment ago, and just a few days ago, I was doing my own research about my own horoscope and trying to figure out, like I said to you, oh, I'm not making money. What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. So I started looking at all the different things, and it all went back to compassion because a lot of things in my chart, what they lead to is the sixth house. The sixth house is naturally Virgo, but I've got Cancer there. Cancer is the sign that rules the mother. It's emotional, it's caring, it's nurturing, it's compassionate. So it's saying that in the work I do, I need to be caring, mothering, emotional, compassionate, and
Mm,
be that person. And I was like, oh yeah, I kind of got away from that. I know that for a while, a lot of people turned to me for advice and they were looking at me to be that compassionate voice, but I got involved in this and I got involved in that and I got pulled away. And I was like, maybe that's what I need to do. I need to get back into having that more compassionate voice and being the, I don't want to say the mother, but that person that they feel like they can go to in that way. And that's a decision, right? To be that.
yes.
So I'm like,
And
okay,
to give and the decision we make every moment. Because sometimes we think we only need to make it on a Monday,
right.
but it needs to be made almost
Every day.
several times a day, not even just once a day,
Yes.
several times a day to remember to be kind to
My
myself.
question is, Bola, how did I ever pull away from that? That was like my whole thing was that compassionate mom. And somehow I became more like a, I don't know what I became. I just feel like I pulled away or people didn't see me that way. And
The world pulls you. The world pulls you. The world is so intoxicating. It's so intoxicating. And you know, we have people that we like. Like I like Celine Dion, and we sometimes I sometimes see something on my timeline and it's a negative story about her. And then I want to click on it and I go, no, I'm not going to click on it. You see, I have to remind myself immediately that there's nothing good that's going to come out of me clicking that. I'm not going to feel good by clicking that. So I'm going to show myself compassion and I'm not going to click it. I'm going to hide it and I'm going to do something else. And then the next thing, and the universe, this is the interesting thing. The world doesn't give up. 5 minutes later, there's another thing on that. Or I just get a phone call from somebody who has done something maybe to a friend or to a colleague or to a contract that we've had, and I want to curse. And then I think, no, how I respond to this is key. How I respond to this is going to determine the outcome I get.
Mm.
And I have to remind myself again and again and again and again and again. And this becomes, that is why the spiritual practice is a journey.
Mm.
It becomes easier for us to align, to choose to become passionate, to have those higher perspectives when we keep that reminder, when we keep coming back to it. If we're expecting the world to support us to do it, it doesn't
It
happen.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't happen. And no matter how spiritual we get, it's the climb down is never far away.
Yeah.
It's there is always a diversity of experiences. This is the density of the third of this earth plane.
Mm.
There is a lot of polarity,
Mm.
and there's also choice. And we're being called to hold the light. We're being called to be the light. We're being called to hold love, to remember love again and again and again, using whatever modality. Even if I've been backsliding or if I've regressed or if I feel I've regressed for years, what do I want now?
Mm.
It's never too late.
I love that.
It's never too late
Never too
to
late.
actually decide to align to what, and it's not about right or wrong, but what is making me feel good.
I was just thinking that what feels right, what feels good. Yeah.
And we know what feels
Yeah.
good. We
You can
know
feel
it.
it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not hidden. It's not something that
Yeah.
but it's about how dedicated we are to developing our power in goodness.
Yes.
It's how dedicated we are. And this is why I really am passionate about promoting my book because I know that it's got 31 nuggets in there, 31 soul nuggets, I call them. And they're different perspectives. They're nuggets around love, nuggets around unconditional love, nuggets around patience, around forgiveness, around intimacy, around compassion. And when you read these nuggets, it does activate. It activates a willingness to align, to understand what are my perspectives? What am I aligning to?
Yeah.
It reminds us that we are empowered beings and we're not victims.
Yes.
We can choose to be a victim if we want, but that's not our true self.
Yeah.
That's not our true self. So I would love this book. It's available online anywhere books are sold.
I
And
definitely want to get it. Is it Daily Soul Bites?
Daily Soul Bites for an Inspired Life.
Yes.
That's it there. Daily Soul Bites for an Inspired Life. And it's also coming out. Well, it's out already. The audiobook is out. It's now on Kindle, paperback, and audiobook. And I'm doing the launch, the audiobook launch on the 28th of August.
Ooh.
And really, this is about how we can begin to um, really reconnect to the truth of who we truly are, to that part of us that is compassionate,
Yeah.
to connect to that part of us that is compassionate again and again and again, to read a soul bite a day.
Yes.
One soul bite a day
Yes.
allows you to just remind yourself again, because we need reminders.
Right.
We need reminders to stay on track.
And you said daily,
And
sometimes multiple times a day.
a day,
Yeah.
we cannot think that it will come out of the blue without
Yeah.
the reminders. We need to have things around us, pictures, mugs that have,
Yeah.
that have something. Oh, that belly so bites. This is the brand. We need to have things around us that allow us to remember to stay in love,
Mm.
to stay in light. Because it's from this place that we begin to solve all the problems that we have. Creativity, the problem solving, the relationships we have. We are responding less with anger and we're responding more with understanding.
I love
And it
that.
will surprise us. And we grow, we deepen. The person I was a year ago is not the same person I am now. I actually relate differently to everybody that I deal with because I am determined. I am so determined to stay on track. And my son will go, "Oh, mom, you're not meditating again, are you?
Oh
You've
no.
meditated twice today already."
Oh.
Because he knows when I go like that and I'm giving myself self Reiki, and because he wants to say something to me, and he goes, "Oh, you're meditating again," you know. So
So cute.
it is what I need.
Right.
It's what I have discovered that I need
Right.
because I'm also managing my diet at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm needing to really manage my food intake and develop a really wonderful relationship with my body.
You look smaller to me. I was thinking that. I don't know if you've
Oh, I
lost weight.
I have now, but I have gained before. I have
Oh,
gained more than I was,
okay. Yeah.
say, six
Right.
years ago,
Right.
you know. But over the last year, I have come down
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
And it's really about understanding the
Mm.
loving the body, and the body begins to surrender. So it's not about going on diets. It's really about understanding the body with love. And the body is not so hungry anymore because it's been fed by something else.
Well, I just
Does
lost
it?
110 pounds.
How did you do it?
Oh, the truth is, when I first started losing weight 10 years ago, I danced. It was just paleo and dancing. Now and I still eat natural pretty much, but I'm on Ozempic and I still dance. But I had over 10 years that started gaining it, it started coming back. And if you're someone, I mean, I'm pre-diabetic and I was over 500 pounds. So I'm not a normal situation. Anybody who's 550 pounds or 500 some pounds is not normal. And the fact that I kept it off for almost 10 years, I feel blessed that I was able to do that. But I definitely needed to get on Ozempic. My A1C was up. And when you've got diabetes, you don't lose weight. There's weight resistance. So
Mm,
once I went on the Ozempic, every month, 10 pounds, 12 pounds just fell off.
mm,
And it wasn't like I was dieting. It's just diabetic, obviously, and I needed to
mm,
have it. So my goal now is actually to be normal. Like now that I'm like 200 pounds, I want to be 160 pounds. And
mm,
that's my goal is between 150 and 160. So that's
mm.
what I'm trying to get to.
Well
It's
done.
major for
Well done.
someone like me that was so big. Like I could have been on my 600-pound life. So part of me, this feels sort of like I'm in a dream in a way. It feels surreal.
You look great. You look absolutely
So
beautiful. You look great.
it's a
You
weird
look
vibe.
absolutely beautiful.
It's a weird vibe, I tell you. I sometimes I know I post a lot of pictures, but a lot of people think, "Oh, she's vain." No, I'm incredulous. So I post pictures. So I know, oh, that's who I am now. Like, who are you? Are you that 500-pound woman? Are you that 300-pound woman? Are you that 200? No, this is you now, and this is who you're becoming. It's almost
Visualizing. You're visualizing.
yeah,
Mm.
I'm manifesting her, whoever I am.
Yes. 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 And it's interesting how visualization is something that allows us to feel that feeling we have when we visualize. It allows us to step into our higher self because that image that we hold creates an energy within us. And that energy is something that we can hold, we can enjoy it. And from that place, we have ideas about being enough.
Yeah,
From that place, we have ideas about being worthy.
yeah,
The ideas are always coming, but we don't hear it because we're on a different frequency.
yeah.
But when we use these modalities, they put us in a different frequency. And then we see things differently. We hear things differently. We the words we speak are different. And that is the power of all these modalities. So I love the fact that you have these visions and pictures, and it's creating that frequency within you. And then now you want to be listening to the things that come to you when you are in that state. That's the next thing. When
Ooh.
you are in that state, it's not just the visions, it's the state. That
Mm,
state being leads to a different um, set of information around you. And it's then what you do with the information that's coming to you when you are in that state of being.
mm.
Taking action when you are in that state of being. You cannot lose.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You cannot lose. So staying in that state of being as much as we can, as many times a day, taking action in that state of being, not when we're low, because I know I sometimes go in the kitchen and then I'm in the low state of being. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna get in that kitchen? Yeah, you
Right,
know. So it's and the fact that I actually don't buy many things anymore.
right.
So it's always the state of being that these things give to us
Mm.
that really matters. And then we can so I love that you've got all these vision boards and you're looking great. You've got the energy, you've your frequency, you're vibrating. I love the energy that we give each other
Yeah,
when we connect.
yeah.
This for me is so key, resonating with those that make me feel good about myself
Mm,
when I see them, because I know you're somebody, you've got a very loving soul.
mm.
I remember when we got together and we did, we formed the collaboration of seeing,
Yes.
and you set out you did so many things that you do as a profession, but you did it for free. You offered your services through, and you were quick to do it. You did not ask for anything, and that was generous.
Mm.
You have such a generous spirit, and it was inspirational. It was so inspirational, and I love that.
I
Um,
love
and I,
helping. I do. It's
yeah,
something about it that makes me feel good. I don't know what that is, but I love helping. So,
I
yeah.
think we all do. I think we all do. But it's sometimes there's something about when we give, what the reasons why we are giving.
Mm.
Because I know that the more I give selflessly, the more I get back. Not necessarily from that place, but from somewhere else.
It's true.
Sometimes I'm giving something and I'm thinking that I'm giving in a particular community, in a particular place. And I'm thinking I will get something back from that place. But the world doesn't work like that. The return may come from anywhere. And all we have to do is give from a place of passion. Whatever we feel passionate about, whatever we feel um, the deepest concern from the heart, without any need for return, just doing it for the sake of it, because I love
Love
doing
it.
it.
Yes.
When we give from that place of, I just love, like a lot of the things I do before I did Daily Soul Bites, I was doing podcasts already. Now my podcasts are around promoting my book and also collective consciousness, but it's my book primarily. And there is a difference. Although I'm doing much more with it as well. I'm also you know, sharing a lot of information and insights from other spiritual teachers that do not necessarily talk about my book.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
so I've got that. I've got my book. I've got my selfless giving, and it's all around my passion of sharing spiritual practice,
Mm.
sharing higher perspectives.
Mm.
And I think when the more we do these things, sharing from a place of passion, we get it back from everywhere. It just comes, just receive abundance.
Yeah,
There is something about that frequency, because passion is a high frequency.
it's true.
When we're doing something we're enjoying, we get it reflected back in different ways. It may be from our children, it may be from neighbors. There was a neighbor who my son just graduated as a medical doctor, and a neighbor I'd not spoken to in years because I had some thorns in my garden, and it had grown into her garden. This was years, and she hadn't told me that the thorns had grown into her garden. She had gone there to start to dig the thorns away from the fence, and it had really created bruises on her. So we fell out because of that. And I said to her, you should have told me. I would have gotten someone to do it. She said, oh, I couldn't wait for you to get someone to do it. I needed to clear it out straight away. But she got really bruised, and the relationship kind of didn't end up too good. And then I got a card a couple of days ago through the door, and it was from her saying, congratulations, because she saw my son on the street when he was walking out of the house. And he said he'd finished his degree, and she felt so inspired by them that she bought a card and put it through the door. And then I went to knock on her door, and then we had a cup of tea, and it was so that was interesting that
Yeah.
we there was there was a different her feeling the passion to come and knock on my door, and the response she got, and then the response I got from just following that to and fro. It's a beautiful dance.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful dance.
'Cause she acted with her heart, which caused you to act with your heart.
Yes. And it's so because she did it from a place of just feeling so, because she's known him from a boy. She's
Yeah.
known him grown
She
up, and
couldn't
just
resist that. She
she
couldn't
couldn't
resist that.
resist it.
Yeah.
She needed to just touch base with me. And the card was not addressed to him, it was addressed to me.
Oh,
I was interested
isn't that funny?
because yeah, because she could have written his name on the card, but it was like Bola's son, and I said, Bola, this is for your son, and I thought, oh, who is sending me this? And I read it, and it was from her, and I was touched by it.
Have you ever
Um,
been in a situation like that where you haven't talked to someone, but you had, and then you get back, you're with them again, you're talking with them, you're friends with them again, and you wonder what ever made us not talk for so long?
they're a different person, and so will be.
Mhm.
They're a different timeline, a different parallel universe. Because I believe our parallel universes have different versions of us in it.
Mm.
And as we grow, as we transform, we shift into different, all these different timelines are there around us, billions of timelines. And when we meet someone who we have met before, who seems different, we are not the same, they are not the same. And we can create a new past with them.
Oh,
We
wow.
can create a new future with them. We have that capability.
I always
Because
hear
I have,
people talk about
yeah,
shifting or jumping timelines.
yes.
And it's this is part of it, being able to create a past as well as a new future.
The person that we were when we started this is different from the person we are now. And we can, at any point in time, because sometimes I realize that, I'll give you an example. My mum and I used to fall out a lot when I was a teenager. And one day, I met my aunt who said to me, because I didn't remember any wonderful experiences with my mom as a child. I couldn't. If you ask me what wonderful experiences did you have with your mom, I go, no. She was always critical of me, and she was always wanted me to do more than I felt I could do,
Mm.
and that made me strong in a way because I became very determined to do things, even no matter how I felt. I would push myself because I was pushing myself to please her. So there's a good that came from that. But if you ask me if I had any positive experiences, I wouldn't be able to name one.
Oh, wow.
And I'm and then about 5 years ago, my mom passed 4 years ago. About 5 years ago, one of my aunties said to me, because then I transformed my relationship with her. Since I turned 40, 40 was the year my relationship with my mom changed.
Mm,
I remember telling her about things that happened to me in my childhood, and she cried.
mm, mhm,
Things that I had not told anyone I had been through, things that had been done to me by cousins, by friends, which she hadn't known had gone through.
mm.
How I had felt stuttering, how I had felt having sexual abuse, how I had felt being isolated. She
Oh my
didn't
God, you were a
know.
stutterer?
Yes, I was stuttered. I still stutter sometimes. I
You're one of
stuttered
the best
as a
speakers
child.
I know. Oh my God, that's
It was one of my really powerful tools to align to wanting better for myself. Because if I'd spoken with ease, I wouldn't have felt the need to feel better. But because I struggled with it and I felt so isolated, I read a lot of books that inspired me. And reading books was something that has led me to this place. So I remember at age 40 changing my relationship with my mother. And then over the years since then, we have gotten closer because I've had, with my kids, and she was close to me with my kids. She would support me. I began to see how much of a fighter she was and how much she loved me
yeah.
in her own way, the best way she knew how. She told me of her own childhood experiences. She had been put, she had a bad eye through an accident, and she was put on a train uh, by her auntie. And so, say for instance, you live in the States. It was from one state to another. She was put on a train in one state. She could not see.
Mm,
And she was led to a seat on the train, and she sat on that train for over 12 hours. And she could not go to toilet. There was no one with her. She could not talk to anybody. She was traumatized. And that was just one of the experiences she went through. She got to the other side and there was no one waiting for her there. She had
oh my gosh.
to find her way home from the train station. Could not see. So she told me a number of things and I cried. And this was when I was 40. So we both were on a different timeline to what I was when I was a child.
Right, right.
But 5 years ago, my auntie said to me, this was a surprise, that your mum used to take you to the hairdressers and you used to do your hair the same way. You used to paint your nails the same way. You
Wow.
used to wear the same outfits. That was a different past.
Wow. And you don't remember any of that?
It didn't happen in my timeline. It happened in the timeline that I was in that moment. A different past of that person that I was 5 years ago. And someone will say, remember we did this? And now I just laugh when that happens because I certainly don't remember doing it. But if you say we did it, that's because that is the past of the person that I am now. And it's a very interesting dynamic that we can actually have a different past that did not have the trauma. This past that I now held on to, when she said to me, you had a beautiful relationship with your mother, I called my mother and I said to her, Mom, did we used to do this? My mom said, no.
Oh my God, but I
And
remember
I had
it.
to choose. I had to choose which past I wanted.
Mm,
I had to choose because there was a part of me that needed her to validate it.
mm,
But I don't need validation. I
mm,
just need to believe it. I need to know that it is possible.
mm.
So I went away from that conversation with her when she said, why would I dress up? Well, I didn't have time for all of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, isn't that funny?
But I've had so many experiences like that. that really you begin to question this one way, this linear way we see things.
Mm.
You begin to see that it is not actually that linear. We don't all have the same memory. You're talking to your brothers and they say you did things or you did things together, which you know you never did. And then you have to decide, okay, which would I believe? Which would I want to believe? Do I want to believe that I really had a good relationship with our neighbors, the children of our neighbors, with my brothers? I wouldn't say I did. But when my brother said to me, well, we had a good relationship with our neighbors, with this person, I said, she threw me down the street. She threw me down.
Right.
What are you talking about? That's what I remember.
Right.
He goes, no, that didn't happen. This is what happened. And initially I would argue. And now I realize it's a different time. It's a different past of the timeline we are in that moment. And we have an opportunity to claim it and own it or go back to the traumatic one.
Mm.
Continue to choose and speak and align to the traumatic one. We have a choice. Because if we choose to align to the traumatic one, that is what it would be. But if we choose to align with the one that is now of a different frequency, that is what it will be. And it's a very powerful way of perceiving and acting on life.
Yeah.
And there are many who will say, I don't believe in that. I want to believe that it's all linear, that the past can never change. And we have choice to do that. Personally, I have seen it work very well when I decide that the memories that are being shared with me that are different from the ones that I remember, which are more loving, memories being shared in the present are more loving, they are more empowering. I like that. I want to choose those memories. I really do. I want to show myself compassion and choose memories that are going to make me the future, the person that had that past.
Mhm.
Because the person that had the loving past is very different from the person that had the traumatic past.
Yes. Yes.
And we can really begin to choose good, choose to believe in the good.
Yes. I
Mm,
actually was in it was a therapist, so it was a therapy session. But when I was a young child, I was 18 months. I was raped at 18 months. I never knew exactly how old I was until I went into this therapy session. But through that, I got some validation through my mother, like the timeline of when it happened. And what they did with the therapy was that they would take me back and regress me. And in the regression state, they would have me be a victor, like be able to fight off the attacker, which we all know you can't do at 18 months, but through visualization, you can. And so
mm,
they began to give me more empowerment. They did this for me. I was around 30, 31, maybe 30, 29, 30. Anyway, at that time, I had been a Mary Kay consultant. I used to go on stage a lot. And one of my women under me was a psychologist or psychiatrist. And she realized that I would cry and would bring up the rape a lot. And so she had got me in touch with this therapist. And through that, I was able to heal. Like I was able to become more empowered as a woman and less
mm,
scary. I don't cry when I talk about it, as you can see. It changed me. So it
mm.
obviously changed my whole viewpoint on the entire thing of being raped. Not that I wasn't raped, it's that I see it, but I see it apart from me now.
You
It's
observe it. You're more of an
right.
observer than a participant. And
Exactly.
it's changed your frequency in the present.
Exactly.
It's changed your state of being. It's changed your state of mind, your well-being in the present. It's really powerful.
It's very powerful. I mean, I would never believe that it could happen, except it happened to me and changed my whole life. I don't even know what it would have been like had I not had that therapy, because I don't cry over that anymore. I don't think about it. I used to go, it would be like the first thing I thought about when I woke up and the last thing I thought about when I went to bed was being raped. And it changed after that. And so I'm very grateful, very grateful indeed. So yeah, that's amazing. Oh my God, Bola, are you still there? Okay, there you are.
Oh, the
Yeah,
internet, my internet connection is telling me it's unstable.
yeah, it was a little unstable there for a moment, but I just realized why. We have been talking and running our mouths for 2 hours.
Oh my God, we gotta go.
I
I
just
am,
realized we had just run
I'm
our
having
mouths.
a lovely time. This is what happens when we get together. We go on and on. I remember us talking for about 3, 4 hours at one point. It's
I
amazing. I love that.
There's just a
I
million
love
things
your
I could
energy.
talk to you about. There's just so much. I just feel like
Same here.
I don't know why I feel like such a kinship to you, and I'm
Same here. Same here.
grateful.
I definitely feel that our connection was meant to do a number of changes and transformations for both of us. Because I know when I see your post, I'm inspired by the courage. I'm inspired by the power you have. You certainly have a conviction about what you believe, and I resonate with that. You're a powerful woman. And until you tell anybody what you're going through, nobody knows.
Wow,
Nobody knows. That is amazing.
that is a
That
great
is
thing to know.
amazing.
Thank you for that because I always wondered, do people know what I'm going through? And obviously, my manifestation is working to such a point that you can't see it. So that's good.
No, it's something around how you perceive yourself. The reflection coming out is beautiful. There is beauty and power within you, and it shows. So sometimes we need to watch ourselves, and sometimes I have to watch my podcast to actually see because I believe I've done a really bad job sometimes. So some interviews where my guest has a totally different belief or totally different perspective from what I have,
Yeah,
and I would I would sometimes think I did not receive it, that difference in the way that I should have. Because difference is not a bad thing. It's not about one way. It's never about there's not just the one way. There are so many ways, and we've got to accept all the different ways. And it's about what people want. So you won't always meet people that are saying the same thing as you. We won't always agree. So I definitely um I've had some of those interviews where I come away thinking, oh, my God, I shouldn't have said that. I should have complimented them a lot more. And then I go back and I watch the interview and I was okay.
right, right.
So sometimes all the things you were saying are actually only a part of you. You actually have a part of you that is beautiful, that believes she's beautiful.
Yeah,
Do you know that?
yeah, I do.
There is a part of you, otherwise we wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
There is a part of you that believes that, and sometimes we have to watch that self. We have. Do you go back and watch your videos?
I have. And earlier you had said something about vision board. And I was looking at my vision board, and I have a lot of women on my vision board and pretty outfits and whatever. And one day I was wearing an outfit and I was like, oh my God, I have that shape. Like I have developed into that shape. That 500-pound woman is now that size 12 woman. And how did that happen? Like it's crazy.
Yes, yes,
Crazy. I never in a
yes,
million years thought I would ever be a size 12 or 14 or anything remotely like it. But I
yes,
realize every day that, oh my gosh, I think I'm I got just about that shape. Like that's my vision board shape. So
yes.
it's a
Look at that.
good vibe. It's great.
Sometimes we need to see that reflection and own it because you saw it and you owned it. I said, yes, because I tell you, if someone tells you that, you may have looked at that vision board and that shape of you may have been there, but you wouldn't have seen it
Oh yes.
because you were not ready to own it.
Oh yes. When I first put those pictures up, That was such a faraway dream that was never going to be attainable. Like when I saw those bodies, I used tears like I've never been like that. I never will be like you have no idea. So now when I look at that and I'm like, hey, I got that outfit or something. I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
How is that? How is that?
I remember doing a vision board, and um I wanted a picture of me with money pouring on me. And I looked online. I couldn't find a picture of a black woman with money pouring on her, like dollars or pouring. That's how I wanted to have rain,
Oh,
money
you wanted to
rain
rain
on me.
on you. Yes.
I wanted money to be raining on me. And I wanted to have it on my vision board.
I love
And
that.
I had to create that. I went on Canva and I created a picture of a woman because I tell you this, I couldn't at that time. Now I can, but at that time, the idea of having my picture and money raining on my picture, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It gave me the creeps. When I think about it now, I think, how on earth is money gonna flow on me if I can't even have a picture of it? If I can't even have
Is
it
that
on as a
funny?
picture
Oh,
and it's a true test. If you can have a picture of you with money pouring on you, that is a good place to be. If you
I
can accept that flow
oh my
of
gosh, now I want
money,
to have one.
of raining on you.
Raining, yeah, money.
So, but I'll send you a picture of the one of the pictures I did for the first time. Now I have one of me on my wall with me just having money raining on me, and I'm very comfortable with that now. Hello, hello.
Yes.
It's so nice.
Yes.
But I couldn't do it at first. But
Mm,
I started out having a picture of a black woman and money just her relaxing and money was just
mm,
pouring on her. And that is an interesting concept because we think we have no resistance. But the only reason why the money is not there is because there's resistance. There's no other reason.
yeah, it is.
When we can have an image of us and we're very comfortable with money just flowing on us and we feel at ease, we feel peaceful, we feel we can welcome it. When we are in that place,
Mm,
then we know we have no resistance.
ooh, yeah,
And I say this because I know you do vision boards as well. It's also a modality for me, vision boards. For
yeah.
some people, it's not. But if it is for you, that is a one good way to start with really welcoming and letting go of resistance to the flow of, because money is energy, the flow of that energy in your life.
Let it flow. I love the idea of the money raining down on me. I gotta find a way to do that. Oh my God.
And you are good with
Such a
Canva.
visual, such a visual.
You will be able to do it in 2 seconds. It took me a week to do it. You'd be able to do it in 2 seconds. A picture of you with
That's
dollars
like my
just
new
pouring
project
on
in
you.
my mind, my new project. Find money to rain down on me. Find money. Like, cause
And and have it as a screensaver on your phone.
yeah,
Just surround yourself with it so that you will begin to breathe it in and you begin to experience it in your essence.
I will say this one last thing because God knows we've been going for a minute. But one of the things on my vision board that I've had for 10 years, and it's not happening anywhere near it. That's why I keep saying it's in the vortex. But I've told myself I make $90,000 a month. In my mind, it seems so simple. It's 90 clients at $1,000, but it has not happened. It's never happened ever in 10 years.
What about if you bring that down a bit?
I guess 9 or 10.
Because believability is
I
key.
I guess. I mean, I in my mind, that was so believable when I wrote that. But after 10 years, I'm thinking, what is wrong with me? Because I know people who get 100 clients or 90 clients. That's not,
It's really the believability.
I guess,
Because
and finding the right thing I'm selling, I guess, too, also.
because sometimes you just want to go a bit higher from where you are now. Sometimes we think we believe it.
Yeah.
we think it's like what I was saying about I was not comfortable with that money pouring on me.
Yeah.
But if we think about a figure and we sense any tension within us, that figure is too high. We've got to be very honest with ourselves. And I can only say this because I've been through it.
Mm.
I had to start with $20 an hour, £20 an hour. I had to start with £20 an hour and just take it step by step by step. And we have to be very honest with what we believe, what we feel comfortable with, and
Mm.
then we can go higher. Sometimes we can only um, start with $90
I mean,
or
here's the weird thing,
$10.
Bola. I'm very comfortable with it, but maybe it's because it's 10 years. In my mind, that is an achievable thing. I've been on webinars where people have signed up 90 people with
There's a
997
resistance.
packages.
There's a
So
resistance there.
it's I feel like I just don't have the right package yet. That I haven't.
Aha.
Right, because I there was something I was doing and it was saying something, what's your something offer, your the offer. I'm like, I'm not sitting on an offer. I don't have any particular package or offer. I don't have a 997 package. So of course I'm not selling a 997 package. There are people
So
that sell
how did you how did
$2,000
you
packages.
how
But
did you want to
I
make
at
it
that time I think I had a 997 package in my mind. But
in your mind?
right, but it doesn't even matter how I do it because at that time I had Dance and Slim Down, which was when I first started losing weight.
Okay.
I was a coach. I became a weight loss coach, and I was charging 150 an hour or whatever.
Okay.
So it just didn't feel like it wasn't going to be that hard to do. I had 1,000 people sign up, and that's where I got the idea. Like, hey, if I can get 1,000 people sign up a month, I can get 90 people out of that 1,000 to pay me. That's my
Mm,
mind.
yes.
But it
Yeah.
didn't work out that way. And of course, I realized no matter what I'm doing, that 90 clients a month, that 997 carries. It carries no matter what I'm doing. I just have to
Mm.
create the 997 package that will sell. And I believe in 997 packages because they sell all the time. It's not an
Something from your heart, something
right,
that
but it
you're
has
really
to be
passionate
right. It has
about.
to be right. I have not yet. I realized when I was doing it's another thing I'm in right now. But when she said that my main package, my my big thing I'm selling, I realized I don't have a 1997 package or a 997 package or a two. I don't have anything like that. So of course
Mm.
it's not coming. I'm offering $150 readings.
It's true.
I'm not doing it, right? So
That's a
I've
big
got to
scoop.
sit down and map that out, create that super package, make it real
Yeah,
so that
that's
I
it.
can create the reality of it flowing to me. Who can buy it if it's not there for him to buy? That's where my
There,
problem has been.
every part of you has to believe it's possible. Every part of you, every single fiber of you has to believe it's
I
possible. So
believe I can
that's,
sell 997 packages. I believe that. So that's not a, I've sold, okay, how can I put this? I've
but
sold,
there's a part of you that you now discovered had a belief that
right.
you did not need a package.
Ooh,
And then there was a part of you that did not believe that you didn't need a package. There was conflict.
right.
Anytime there is conflict between parts of us, we do not move forward. We get stuck.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. I got stuck.
So there was a part of you that said, "Oh, I can definitely make this money without any package." There was a part of you that didn't believe that,
And so I
and
didn't do
that caused
anything
conflict.
toward
Yeah,
the package. I never,
yeah.
10 years later, I still never built my 997 package. It's stupid. So
And there's not only one way you can make that 90,000. There may
right,
be other
there's many
ways.
997 packages or
Yeah, there's
497 packages or
yeah,
right,
yeah,
there's so many ways to do it.
yeah.
When I realized that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a self-limiting belief. I along the way began to put other things in there blocking it, masking what was so easily available. I mean,
Mm,
497, 997 packages float around on the internet all day.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was me not creating it Not
Yeah.
if you don't sell it, you're not gonna sell it if you don't have anything to. You gotta create it. I gotta create it.
And I think it's that thing as what you are given is worth it. You've got to believe that what you are given
Oh my
and
gosh, Bola, yes.
yeah, the impact that this is going to have, to know that this, what I give to you, you can do this and this, it will change your life. To know that what you are given and selling at for something, there's some things you give for free, that's different.
Right,
There's some things that we give and it's like we're serving with it. It's a business.
right,
And it could be the same thing we give for free. We can give it for free sometimes, we can sell it at other times.
right.
And but whatever it is that we are selling as a business has to be something that we know will change lives.
Yes,
We believe in the value of it,
yes.
the belief we have in the value of it, which is usually connected with how worthy we feel we are, our self-worth. That's why abundance is connected to our self-worth. This is financial abundance connected to our self.
Mm,
Knowing that what I'm offering, it's worthwhile you having this because I am giving it to you. I am giving this because I know what it's done in my life.
mhm,
I know what I've done to develop expertise in this.
mhm,
And I am going to let you have it so that you can experience the changes that I have experienced. That is why there's a difference between experts who come through experience and experts who just study in the books.
right.
There's a difference in the outcomes that we have when we are sharing from a place of life experience.
Mhm,
It's very different.
mm.
Thank you so much, Adrienne.
Oh my
I
gosh,
know that we
Bola.
can go on like this.
I love you. First of all, I feel like I have been, oh, the heavens have opened up. Oh, we got so much wisdom. Thank you so much, Bola. And I,
Thank you,
and I want to
Adrienne.
help you promote your book, Daily Sound Bites. Daily Sound
Soul bites.
Soul Bite.
Soul.
Tell
Soul.
everybody how they can get the book. Tell everybody.
Yeah, so this is Daily Soul Bites, and it's now available anywhere books are sold online, in Kindle and paperback, and it's also available in audiobook on Audible, and it's available really on Balboa Press. Balboa Press published the book, Division of AS. It's also available on Amazon, and anywhere online books are sold. And I really will encourage anyone who really wants to connect with this true self, this higher perspective of love, of unconditional love, of compassion, the resonance, which the physical ego self doesn't have because it's really struggling with fear and anxiety and survival. Anything positive is a higher perspective. And we can come to be activated to really align and choose these perspectives more and more. Because it is when we are in this place, when we are connecting to these higher perspectives, that we have our really creative ideas. We are remembering how empowering we are. We're solving the problems around us. We're responding to our relationships in different ways. We are feeling positive. We are feeling fulfilled. We can create new past. We can create our new futures from this empowered place in the present. And would love you to use that as a modality. This is a modality that really allows us to remind ourselves on a day to day, on a moment to moment, to stay in that place and not allow the experiences around us to pull us away from the habits we're trying to form on our journey to be the true authentic self, which is our spirit being, driving that day-to-day experience. We can actually experience this day to day as our higher self, as opposed to as the physical ego being. The physical ego believes it can manage everything, but the higher self can use that physical ego to be different roles, to act in different roles, but guided not by fear, but guided by love,
Mm,
guided by resonance, guided by resilience, by forgiveness rather than judgment. It can be a situation where we are no longer ruled or or driven by our past that was traumatic. We can become driven by these spirit self, the higher perspective of our spirit self. We can become driven by those. And this is how we get our best outcomes. So I encourage you to grab your copy and leave a review. And I do wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Bola. It's been such an honor to have you here with me today. And much love to you. Much love to you. Such a beauty. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrienne.